Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Matchbook Horse Racing Podcast. You can tell I've warmed up my voice today. more horse for no reason. Not that I normally warm it up. It's just two of us this week. We've got a good week of racing, good weekend of racing, but a quiet enough one. 3 tracks we're going to be looking at and 8 races as well. All the ITV races on Saturday in the UK. That we is Adele, Mulrennan and I, and that is before we kick off with the feature stuff, the big action of Royal Ascot next week. We've got 2 podcasts for you next week. We're going live at 2:45 on Monday and so too at 6 p.m. on Wednesday. We're splitting the week up into 2. Adele Mulrennan will be on ITV duty there. You've got all the hats sorted, Adele?
Just about. After we've finished filming today, I'm going back to my hat lady to try and get my final pieces finished. It's been a long week trying to get them sorted.
Yeah. You can't see it. Much easier for a guy. Much easier for a guy.
Yes, it's so easy.
You just got to have a few different ties. Whereas I reckon you could wear the same tie at the start of the week or the end of the week. Nobody would notice.
I've got 10 dresses to find. 10. It's been hard.
Brutal. And lots of winners to find for this podcast as well. So they get 10 dresses and 8 winners. Simple as that. We had a good week on the podcast for the Derby meeting, the Cazoo Derby and Cazoo Oaks meeting. That was last week, of course. Saturday was quiet until the Derby came along, actually. But our very own Michael Deasy was on good form. We had Corazon Espinado, locally trained. He was keen to point out 13.0. Snowfall was a couple of best bets. Mine and DC's best bet on the day, 6.5. She won really well. And DC laid Al-Azi. He put it up at 1.91. He went off at 2.75. I backed him. Because I thought he got to too big a price. He was beaten, and DC, as ever, was right. Never doubt the DC. And then I managed to find a Dayar, put him up at 41.0, and he returned at 17.0. I mean, I was not responsible for that move, but the horse was absolutely hammered, and he won the Derby for Adam Kirby and Charlie Appleby. And of course, you were very likely to be getting best odds with Matchbook, given the exchange, the nature of the exchange. And that ties in with our offer, really, because new customers only, this is, you're getting 0% commission on all sports for 30 days, 0% commission, all sports for 30 days. So you're very likely to be getting best odds anyway with the exchange. But that likelihood is increased with the fact that you have no commission for 30 days, 0% commission for 30 days on all sports. You must use the bonus code INSIGHTS for that offer. That's for new customers only, 18 plus. Be gamble aware. Let's get stuck into the action then. We're going to jump around the courses. We'll just go very simply in ITV order, race order for you. Chester, first of all, we kick off with a handicap, not the biggest field for this. And it's a 5 furlong handicap, the 140 at Chester. Just before I take you through the betting, one question I just wanted to throw to you, Adele, on Chester. Don't know what Paul thinks about this. Have you spoken to Paul today? That's always important.
A little bit. He's actually only got one ride Saturday. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, see. And a 5 furlong handicap at Chester. Is that, of all the distances that you run at Chester, is that where the draw is most important, would you say? You cannot get away with a bad draw over the 5 furlongs more than any other trip, or not necessarily, Adele?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that, because when you're over 5 furlongs, you're initially just going to go forward straight away. So you don't want to be giving up any ground at all. So you want to be drawn as close to the rail as possible. As long as your horse is a forward going horse, you don't want to be drawn on the rail and then wanting to drop out. It can get a little bit messy. So yeah, definitely the draw is very important over 5 furlongs at Chester.
As far as this race goes, look, I couldn't find a bet in it. The market only just sort of came alive recently, and obviously we're not too far after Dex, and just looking at the horses that we've got, I personally am going to sit this one out straight away. What do you fancy here? If I give you the prices, Have a Go Mecca 3.25, as is Rebel at Dawn. Lost My Sock 4.5, Virginia Place 6.5, and I Have Heaven 11.2. What do you fancy here, Adele, and why?
One of the first horses that initially took my eye was Virginia Plain, so I'm quite surprised to see him priced at that, and I would quite happily take it. He's very speedy. He handles sharp tracks because he won at Lingfield and he won at Catterick. So Chester should be absolutely fine for her. She's also got a good draw in 2, so that's a plus. She's a front runner. She likes to go forward. Jimmy Sullivan's actually having quite a good season as well at the moment. He's having a few winners of late. She's only got 8 stone 7. She showed plenty of speed at Goodwood as well last month. That was on softer ground. I think there's a lot to like about her, and at that price, at 6.5, I'm going to take that because it is a bit of a wide open contest. Rebel at Dawn would be another one I'd have on my list, but I think at the prices, I think Virginia Plain's got a good chance.
Yeah, Rebel at Dawn was the closest I got, purely because I think that Jumbie form, I'm actually going to put up 2 horses later on the podcast in the same race who both came out of that Newmarket race, and Rebel at Dawn ran well to be 3rd there, but I'm just finding the pace of this race a little bit tricky personally, and that's what's keeping me away from having a bet. As far as Virginia Place goes, I mean, one of the most likely front runners, I think it's fair to say. Do you think she will hit the front or get to the front?
I'd say so. She's drawn 2, so he's not going to want to lose out on having a good draw. So I presume Jimmy will just utilise that draw in stall 2, and he'll go forwards, I'd say. And if anyone's taking her on, then I suppose he could just easily just take a lead. But she likes to be up there with pace. But yeah, tricky old little race. But I just thought the price, I don't think she was bad at that. Yeah,
she, as I say, is currently 6.5, so second from outside of the field. Is Jimmy still based with Ruth Carr, or because he's riding for a lot of different trainers, Ruth as well, but is that his sort of stalwart trainer, if you like?
Yeah, well, I suppose going back to the Sovereign Debt days, really, they built up a good relationship. But the good thing is with Jimmy is he can do lightweight, so he's always able to pick up spare rides, which is good, and he's a good rider. He's kind of, he's one of them guys who gets the best out of horses, but without bullying them too hard. He gets them going forward, and he's doing really well. He's having a good few winners lately. Had a nice winner for William Haggis at Catterick the other day. Gets on well with fillies.
Sorry, Adele, go on.
He gets on really well with fillies. I said he's not, he doesn't bully them too much. He kind of squeezes the most out of them without being too aggressive.
Interesting. James Sullivan riding for John Quinn here with Virginia Plain and 6.5. So a fair enough bet there. Would that be win and place, Adele, or would that just be for the win market, given we've only got 5? I mean, the front 2 you would get a place spot.
I suppose at that you could play at both markets. I would probably just have a small little win bet.
Okay, small win bet on Virginia Plain. 2 o'clock at York. The Queen Mother's Cup. This is interesting. As the prices as they are at the moment, the horse that I fancied is not quite the price that I thought she was going to be. But there you go. Civil Law is 4.1. Arctic Fox is 5.5, as is Carlos Felix. Nicholas T is 6.5, 7.5 Byron Fly. Then we're into the double figures. I will kick off here if you don't mind, and I'm still going to stick with Arctic Fox, who on first start for this yard over hurdles was pulled up, and it was very disappointing. I thought there was a good bit of promise last time, suggesting that a return to this trip would suit. This is for Martin Todhunter, used to be with Richard Fahey. He's drawn 1. I think will be not too far away, but I certainly don't think we'll go forward. I'd say mid div would be a fair enough shout. Previous course and distance, market is fair. What do you know much about Becky Smith, Adele?
Yeah, she's a good rider. She rides under both codes. Very strong rider. I can't believe how many runners there is. This is usually a full field, 20. I remember riding in it and being drawn 20 of 20. There was only 30.
Where'd you finish, Adele?
Probably 20th.
Not true.
It's quite a while ago. You see, when I rode as an apprentice, and then I went back as an amateur after that, just to ride in amateur races as a little bit of fun. But it wasn't that much fun, to be honest with you. So the jockey wins their weight in Champagne with this race. Yeah, I mean, this is apart from the race down at Ascot, this is the creme de la creme for the lady amateur jockeys. I can't believe that we've only got 8 runners. Is it? How many have we got? 8.
I feel like it's been. I mean, we didn't have it full stop last year, and then the year. So when Arctic Fox won it a couple of years ago, I think there were 13, and then the year before that there were 12 that year. But if you go back a few years, like you say, it was an absolutely jam-packed field.
Yeah.
So yeah, just the 8 is disappointing. Ultimately, are there some girls who are missing out on a ride in this that would be riding in this? Do you think there must be?
I'm trying to think. You see, I suppose because of last year and missing quite a bit of the season, especially with the amateur races, I think a lot of girls have kind of stopped riding. The ones that were kind of maybe hanging around for quite a while. But I suppose Gina Andrews has got a ride, Becky Smith's got a ride, Serena's got a ride. But yeah, I just thought it was a bit small field really for it. And
I'd agree. Go on, who do you like?
Well, I've got the 2 who are the complete outsiders of the field, so big prices. Samim for Tim Easterby, he's won this race 3 times. He likes to give his daughter a winner. Emily's won it before. This horse is a front runner, so I presume will go off in the front. I mean, he won a listed race at Hamilton off 101, 102, down to 82. Wouldn't surprise me if this horse didn't win on Saturday at all. Emily's actually a really good rider. She's very neat, very tidy for an amateur. So yeah, big price. I would quite happily take a big price on him, and it won't surprise me if he doesn't shorten up. And another one just for a little each way, Fly Me to the Stars of Mick and David Easterby's their new combination license. Rosie Howarth. I don't think she's ridden a winner yet, but this horse is another one that's got some fair form back in his day, having his first start for the stable on Saturday. But he was quite a good servant for Prescott. I think he won 3 times, second to Nikita in the E-board, do you remember, and third in the Northumberland Plates. He's got plenty of ability. It's just whether or not he's ready to go first time out for such a long layoff. Got top weight as well, but Rosie takes a valuable £6 claim off him. So just them 2 I'll purely play at the place market, and if they win, happy days.
I used to always look for a horse who was ridden by a sort of father-daughter combination or something. Go, must have been laid out for this. But I can't say I found the winner doing that in recent years. See if there has been one of late. Tim and Emily won it with Snoana back in 2016. Yeah, and I always used to look when Joanna and Mick teamed up, but I'm not sure if they've combined with a win. But I'll stick with the shortest price of the 3, putting up Arctic Fox at 5.5. Samim 21.0 for Samim, and Fly Me to the Stars off the back of just the 1,371 days off the track is a 15.0 shot.
But it has been won by 9 Yorkshire winners. They've all been Yorkshire winners the last 9 years. So
yeah, it's a massive event. This race for them up there is a massive event, particularly if you get to win your weight in Champagne, right? Yeah.
Usually Mick Easterby puts his foot on the scales just to make it a little bit heavier.
Exactly.
It's a good day out for them.
What they do, if nobody knows, is they weigh the rider after the race. Is that right? And then they balance it with champagne on the other side. So you just make sure you chuck loads of lead on the rider when she sits on it.
Usually, when the winner comes back in, all the jockeys are shoving in lead down the boots and down the pants and everywhere just to try and make it happen.
Let's move on to the next contest, and so we're moving out of Sandown now. This is for the Scurry Stakes, and we've got the 9 in here. We're over 5 furlongs. Prices are as follows. We've got Atalis Bay, who heads the betting, who's been in really good form and finished second to Winter Power. Perhaps more on that horse a little bit later on. Last time, Atalis Bay heads the betting currently at 2.5. Warrior Brave for the horse watchers is 6.5. 7.5 for Steel Bull, one of the Irish raiders, tongue tied for the first time. Queen's Carriage 8.0, first edition 9.0. Then into the double figures. You can kick us off with this, Adele.
Okay, I think it might be a perfect opportunity for Atalis Bay to get his head back in front. He's had 2 starts this season. He's in great form. He is holding his form well. That second to Winter Power, solid run. Well clear the rest of the field, 5 lengths, I think, to the horse in third. He's definitely a listed Group 3 performer without a doubt. So I think this is a perfect opportunity for him to get his head back in front. Just thought it was interesting that Pat Dobbs is doing 8-9 for Kevin Thomas Coleman. That wouldn't be easy for him. He'd probably just sneak in at 8-9, doing 8-9 Pat Dobbs. So I just thought that was an interesting one, maybe a little one to play at the place market. But I think Atalis Bay is the one that I think he should be able to win this race on Saturday. He's definitely a listed horse, Group 3.
Yeah, I agree with you. I really like the York form. I think Winter Power is a proper animal, a nice Tim Easterby sprinter going forward, and quick ground. I don't think there was an excuse. I think he was beaten by a better horse on the day. There was no excuse needed necessarily. It was 7.5 on the day, but I'd be happy enough to play at the price to see if there is another Winter Power in here, which I'm not sure on the face of it there is. I respect Warrior Brave. I respect the connections as well, a good deal. And my slight concern with that horse is I wouldn't want him to be slowly away again, and was last time. I like where Atalis Bay is drawn. I think it's pretty obvious he won't be too far away, but we'll get a nice toe into it. Has been tried over 6 and wants to test at this trip. We'll get that. Good quick ground is no problem. Won a couple of starts to go on quick ground. So Atalis Bay for me. I am going to stick up one, given that we've got 9 in here. I'm going to stick up a win and place bet on Michelle Star as well. Tom Ward managed to go and film with him the other day, and he was adamant that this is where the horse was going to go. She's in the search for black type. I did ask why she wasn't running in a handicap, because she's rated 90, but that's the problem. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? They want black type. It's more important than winning a handicap. So I think she's definitely well in, based upon that Happy Romance run at Chelmsford and the Newbury run really last time, when finishing in and around Happy Romance again. But the ground didn't suit at Newbury, and at Chelmsford, she was unfortunate, I think it's fair to say. She is a 13.0 shot, win and place. I thought Michelle Star was a fair shout, win and place, but I agree with you on Atalis Bay at the top of the betting as well. So I'm going to have that horse on the side. We kick on to our next contest. This is at York. This is a 7 furlong handicap, the 235, and we've got a field of 11. It felt like one of the bigger fields of the day when I was looking at it, Adele. Class 2 contests. I am straight in with Golden Apollo, Golden Apollo is not the sort of horse I like to put up too often. But my God, he's a well-treated horse. He's won over the 6 here. 7's actually no problem. He's run really well in I think he might have been this race a couple of years ago, but either way over this course and distance. And I quite like Ella McCain taking off 5. I've been pretty impressed with what she's done so far this year. 10 winners for the year. She's got an 18% strike rate. I think she's going along really nicely. Should have this run to suit. No matter what trip he runs over, he wants a bit of pace to aim at. Should get that here. And that was my main play at 12.0. Dazzling Down is 5.0. Gifted Ruler is 6.0. Bashir is a 9.5 shot, 10.0 for National League. And then we're into the slightly bigger prices. Golden Apollo for me, Adele?
I like Gifted Ruler, and I think he'll shorten right up. I went through this loads of times because there's quite a few horses that I like. There's loads of horses you could pick. Dazzling Dan's a nice horse. Manny Gordo ran well for Paul up at Hamilton. He was kind of ridden a little bit more patiently. He was 3rd to Lampang, but Gifted Ruler, I bet he shortens up, and I bet he ends up a lot shorter than what he is on Saturday. He's still quite lightly raced. He did win on heavy ground, so I was kind of maybe worrying maybe the ground might be a bit too quick for him, but he was 2nd at Newmarket last time out. That was at 18-1. Just got a little bit unbalanced coming down the hill, kind of lost his action a little bit once he hit the dip, and then once he hit the hill, he ran on much stronger, and I think York will be to suit him. It's a nice galloping track. The horse that he was 2nd to, is it called Bacaccio? Yeah, Boccaccio, whatever. I don't know what it is. It sounds like a bread, doesn't it? I don't know what it is. Yeah, he was 2nd in the listed race at York afterwards. So I think there's a bit more to come from Gifted Ruler. I do.
Gifted Ruler for you. Just the one in it?
Just the one in it. Yeah. No, I'm going to go a little win. I'm going to go win bet on him. I think he'll shorten up, so I'd be taking the price now.
Lovely job, Peter. Welcome along. He is in agreement. He's on the Gifted Ruler with you. Gifted Ruler is 6.0. Win and place or win only?
Yeah, no, I could go win and place now. Yeah, I think he'll shorten.
And I will play the same with Golden Apollo at 12.0. I was really tempted by National League, and then I thought he was shorter than he should be. So I thought at the prices, Golden Apollo was a fair shout. Can I ask you about Troubadour? Paul thinks maybe he thinks maybe the handicap has still got a bit of a hold on him, so
he probably wants to come down a little bit. But definitely a horse to keep an eye on, though.
I was interested with him. Yeah, I was just, I mean, he's come down a little bit, hasn't he? So I was half interested, but then when you look at the price outside of the field, I thought that was interesting, but then maybe I'm missing something. I will listen to Paul, and
he will
then
transform, maybe just not yet.
Okay. And if he does win, can Paul give me some sort of insurance that he'll pay out if it wins? That I feel like that should be fair enough.
I think it's his only ride on Saturday as well. So
yeah. All right. Good stuff. We'll kick on to our next contest. We are heading back to Sandown for a 1 mile handicap. This is the 250 at Sandown, and we've got a field of 10 in here. I'll give you the prices. King's Night and Last Generation can't really be split at the moment, who are both a 4.6 shot. Buxted 2 is 9.0, Dogged is 9.0, 11.0, and Bigger the Rest. Adele, take it away.
Well, I actually quite like, I tipped King's Night on ITV at Chester. He did have a wide draw that day, and I think that's probably what cost him finishing a little bit closer. I thought Chester would suit him because he likes quite sharp tracks, and he can be quite keen. So he's over and back over. He has run over a mile before, but he's kind of stepping back up in trip. So that was my only little bit of worry against him. I do like him. I think he's very progressive. I think if he was over 7 or maybe over somewhere a little bit sharper, I'd like him. But I've got one at a bigger price. Don't Tell Claire, of Daniel and Claire Kubler's. I thought he could play at the place market. Course and distance form is always a plus. I thought maybe just probably needed the run last time out. That was on reappearance at Kempton. I think he'll definitely come on for that run. I just think he's only £1 higher from last win mark. I do think she's a horse that I think is just about maybe ready to put up a big performance, and at a big price like that, I think she's hard to look past.
Yeah, as far as
all the other ones.
So 13.0 for Don't Tell Claire, who I don't know if that's anything to do with it's not owned by anything to do with the trainer, so it's probably nothing to do with Claire Kubler. There you go. Owner's wife might be a Claire as well, but 13.0 for Don't Tell Claire. I'm gonna go for just a small bet on Latest Generation. I think he's a really good horse, and I think he's very likely the best treated horse in the race off a marker 93. My slight niggle is that backing horses who you have to make excuses for, i.e. too keen, back in trip, it doesn't always work out like that. And it's 4.5, and that's a little bit shorter than I was hoping for. I will have a small bet on Latest Generation just because I like the horse, and I don't want to let him go on back. He's got a tongue tie on for the first time. He's another Frankel who just probably needs to sort it out a bit up there before showing his best. But what that one rule of form from here over 7 on debut is very good. We know that. And then 1 over the mile subsequently. And then I think the back end of last year's soft ground probably caught him out. And then the Hurricane Lane form is very good from Newbury, but he'll need to settle back in trip. I thought there was a case that I could see him going off favourite, to be honest, given that one rule of form. So we'll see. Small bet 4.5 for me, and Don't Tell Claire in the place market for Adele. Happy? Any more?
No, I did like. I like Latest Generation, but I've just gone for one. I think holds form a little bit better than.
Do you know what I mean when I say about a horse that you want to make excuses for rocking up at the top of the betting? I know I'm supporting him, but. I don't think you'll get rich doing that necessarily, if that makes sense. For all I want to have an interest in the race.
Wouldn't surprise me if he didn't win.
It's never as simple either, I think, as horses just cut. I don't know what you think about this. When horses are keen, so you drop them back in trip. It doesn't work the oracle necessarily, does it?
No, not always, not at all. Because there's sometimes, Paul and I have been talking about it, like a lot of horses we've seen keen over further trips, like over longer distances, and you bring them back expecting them to, but you also need speed on speed then when you drop back in trip. It is a difficult one, especially with a horse. It's hard with horses who think they're faster than what they are, if you get me. I think it was Martin Pipe said he prefers horses that are slow because they're just slow and you know what they are, and that's it.
I like the idea of I've never thought about it like that. I just think horses that are keen is because it's something mentally about them they won't settle. But I like the idea that they think they're faster than they are, and actually they can't really go much faster. They just want to, and that's not a good place to be in. So there we are. They've gone for a tongue tie for the first time on that horse, and hopefully it'll make the difference. Let's kick on to the next contest. And we're off to the 305 at York, the Grand Cup. Not grand by the amount of horses that are lining up in here necessarily. We've got just the 4, and it's an open enough contest, I think it's fair to say. 3.25 Maccawi. Ranch Hand is a 3.5 shot. As is Roberto Escobar, and then Red Verdon is outside of the field at 6.0. Do you have a bet in this, Adele?
It's a tricky one. It was not a race I would have a bet in. I think when you've got 4 runners, it can very much kind of turn into quite a tactical affair, especially with 4. Red Verdon is usually a hold-up horse. So I presume Frankie will sit him last, but Ranch Hand could go forward. Roberto Escobar, he can go forward. Maccawi, she can go forward as well. So I wouldn't personally have a bet in the race, but Ranch Hand is a horse that I tipped at Lingfield on Champions Day, all-weather finals day, and he's so versatile. He's won 4 on the all-weather, he's won 12 on the turf, he's won twice over hurdles. You kind of know what you're getting with him. Sometimes I don't know whether, I think maybe 2 mile might be a little bit better for him, but he was 6 in the Ebor before, so I can't say he would be the one I would pick. The price is him, would be Ranch Hand. I think he's a nice horse. He holds his form really well. He was wasn't that far behind Lismore at Sandown in the Group 3. So
would you? So I'm going to push you on whether or not I write this down as an official selection for you, because it makes a difference. Then if the horse goes and wins, do I take to Twitter and go another winner for Adele, or do I not? So are you? Would you rather sit it out, or would you rather play at what price did I give you for Ranch Hand? At 3.5.
Let's do a little small. Well, I can't do a little small, but I'll do a little win bet on Ranch Hand. Just to have an interest in the race more than anything.
That's discipline. Do you know, I'm doing the same thing. I got this race up, and I was like, I can't see myself having a bet in this race. I love Maccawi. I think she's fab. I'm a huge fan of hers. Just wonder if quick ground. I take it you're working on good to firm ground everywhere. Is that right?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
She's won on quick ground. She didn't half look good at Goodwood last year. When she won on with a bit of dig underfoot. She have to be right up to her best to take this. So I thought Roberto Escobar probably shouldn't be favourite on form, but in some ways, I think ability-wise, I'd make him nigh on favourite. I think he's got a lot of ability. I like the Matthew Flinders form, and I like the fact that he's won here as well. We talked about York being I don't think it's often given the credit for a sort of horses for courses track, but the ground can just it can just be a bit loose on top. It can catch some horses. I like the fun at York before, and I wouldn't worry too much about the run last time on reappearance on soft ground. I think he probably wants. I think this trip will bring out the best in him, but he may just have wanted that run, and so I'll go for a bit of William Haggis at York with Roberto Escobar, and you're going to have a little one on Ranch Hand. Right, let's kick on. We are going back to Chester for the 320. And do we have a dead 8 in this? No, we don't, do we? Got the 7. We have got Classic Lord at 6.0, Military 2-Step 6.5, Love is Golden 8.0, Man of Riddles is 8.0, A Man is 9.0, as is Side Shot, Glen again 11.0. What do you think, Adele?
I'm gonna go Love is Golden, Franny Norton. He's the man round Chester, isn't he? He's on a 31% strike rate there this year, so I think I'm going to stick with a horse that's got the course and distance form. Wasn't beaten that far at Goodwood either. That was over 1.5 miles. I think he was given a stone away to the winner that day. So a repeat of either 2 performances this season sees him as, you know, being able to win that on Saturday. So I like Love Is Golden. I think at the prices, I'd quite happily take that all day long.
Love Is Golden, who is 8.0. Bigger than I thought it might be, actually.
Yeah.
It's nearly half the field is coming out of Midland and Mark Johnson's yard. And I don't know what you think about this, but and actually it's worth pointing out that I had one other possible pace angle in there, which was a man who might go forward. But otherwise, I think sometimes you get the Johnson horses, you see a few of them in there and you think, even though he maintains that he doesn't tell his jockeys to go forward, and I'm sure he doesn't, who am I to question him? But they do tend to go forward quite a lot. I feel like they don't often go as quick as you'd expect because they can just control it between them, and it's probably quite a shrewd way of doing things. Do you think that? Do you think sometimes when you see a lot of Mark Johnson horses in there, you think, oh, they're going to go really quick here, but it doesn't always work out like that?
The thing is with Mark Johnson, he likes his horses ridden forward because he doesn't like excuses. He doesn't like it when jockeys come in and say there was no pace. He doesn't like it if, you know, they're too far back. Or if I'd have been ridden, you know, if they come in and say, oh, I should have been a little bit more on the pace. He doesn't like excuses. Every horse has got to be in with a winning chance. And the only way you do that is by riding them up there forward and having no excuses to be stuck behind anyone. If they're good enough from where they sit handy, then there's no excuses. That's how he likes them ridden forward. And if I was a trainer, I would want my horses ridden exactly the same way. It's just there's no excuses when you come in.
Yeah, I see what you mean. They're always up there with a chance, aren't they?
Well, his motto, what was it, a few years ago, was always trying. So.
And that is borne out with how they're ridden. Yeah, always trying.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling like a fool here because I did not think Glen again would be outsider of the bunch, but that's where I'm looking. The horse Glen again, who won a couple of starts ago on soft ground, and look, maybe I'm barking up the wrong tree ground wise, and he does want soft, but I always think Johnson's horses are just always better, almost to a horse on a sounder surface.
Yeah.
And then I think at Musselburgh, I thought the horse ran really well. His inconsistent form has gone up a couple of pounds off the back of that. I don't think he will be the one to go forward, but I think he can track the pace from Love Is Golden and Military Two Step. I'd imagine will be up there as well. But I thought Glen again was just the overpriced one. But I don't know about backing the outsider of 3 from the same yard. Maybe that's not very sensible. But we'll see. So Glen again for me at a big price. Remind me of yours, Adele.
Mine is Love Is Golden.
Love Is Golden, 8.0 for you. So just to remind everyone out there, so we're doing 8 races for you here. If you are listening to the pod and you're thinking, oh, how do I note all these down if you haven't got a chance to? There is a betting recap available on insights.matchbook.com. So that'll be we do it for every pod. This will be up the pretty much the afternoon, evening before the racing. That's always the way. So this will be up Friday. And it gives you a recap on all the selections that Adele and I have put up, and we'll give you our best bets there as well. Moving on. Looking forward to the next contest because this is nice and open, this sprint handicap at York. It's the 340. I love a good sprint handicap at York. I don't know why. I'm an absolute sucker for it. But I think I've asked you this before. As far as the draw goes, you don't see a bias on the straight track at York now?
No, I was talking to Paul about it earlier today, and they generally just kind of usually come straight up the middle anyway. So I never really take the draw unless the ground goes soft, like really soft. Then they usually always kind of tend to go towards the stands rail. But other than that, they just tend to stay straight. And it's just whatever the pace is, I think, a lot of the times in the sprint.
And I think it's a really pace responsive straight track. So I think the last preview we did of a York sprint was when Richard Fahey's wonderful older horse came from way off the pace, who runs in the green and white, and I've forgotten his name, Mr. Lupton. There we go. I got there in the end. Okay, and that was where they went really hard. But equally, you often see a horse make all on the straight track at York. It is a flying particularly the 5, I know, but it's a pretty swift sprint track, and if they don't go hard, it's very easy to stay up there.
Yeah, agree.
Who do you like in here? Rather than go through all the prices, who do you like in here?
To be honest, there's a few I like, but Show Along is Bridget Gurin, who owns Show Along. I was talking to her the other day at Ripon, and I was just asking her where he was going to go next, because he was, he looked really smart at Chester, didn't he? There last time, and he holds that course and distance form at York, which is always a plus for sprinters because it's such a long walk over from the stable yard. Cope with the prelims, a lot of them don't do, which he does already. Like he was caught wide as well at Chester, so I think you could probably upgrade that form a little bit. Quite versatile the way he's ridden. He doesn't have to make the run in. He can easily just take a lead. He's more like just to jump out and see where he lands and ride him where he's happy, really, more than anything. I think he's a real improver, Show Along. So I quite like him, depending on what price he is, whether he's big enough to be able to play at the place market as well as a win bet.
Yeah, Show Along is big enough to do that. Remind myself. Yeah, you 10.0 for Show Along, Adele.
Perfect. But there is one horse that I did really like at Pontefract, because I was there that night, was Sky Runner. Beautiful horse.
8.0 Sky Runner.
Yeah, that's still even, I don't know, it's hard to have two. I like the two of them, really.
Do it.
He didn't beat a lot that day. Brian Smart's horse that was in second, he's a really nice horse as well. He's one to follow for the rest of the season. I just can't remember his name. I'll think of it. But he was 7 lengths ahead of him. He's got a little bit of stamina in there. He's won over 7 furlongs as well. So he's just one that caught my eye for this season. To think I think there's could be a bit more to come from him. So I would be keen to play the two of them, really. You could play both.
The horse you reference is Blazing Sun.
Blazing Sun, that was it. Yeah, he's quite nice. He's one to have in the tracker for the season, definitely.
I mean, I obviously looked that up. I did not just have that in my in-depth Ponty form knowledge. So Sky Runner for you at 8.0 and Show Along at 10.0, both level stakes win and place. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm going to go for 2 as well. So yours, incidentally, are drawn 13 Sky Runner and 7 Show Along. I feel like the best of the pace for All Dark Shift is drawn 2. And Dark Shift is probably going to go off at the top of the betting. And you want to be in some instances where the fancied horses are, but I feel like given the main bit of pace is middle to near side. I'm looking at stall 14 for Jadwal, who was second to Jumbie last time, did really well up with the pace. I mentioned I think that's a good bit of form won by Jumbie, who came from off the pace. And I feel like the quicker the better for Jadwal. 9.0 for him. That'd be a win and place shout. And then I think I had a bit on Bickerstaff last time. Did you put up Bickerstaff last time, Adele, or am I making that up? You didn't.
Definitely wasn't me.
So that was in the race won by Jumbie. I don't really know what happened, but he's definitely I'm convinced the horse is better than that. Well, the Creative Force run prior to that suggests he's definitely better than that based on what that horse has gone on to do. He's won on quick ground at Ponty before. He's back to £3 above that last win. You have to be willing to put a line through that run. I can't really find a reason as to why he ran badly. Run well at the track before.
Carl's horses weren't quite hitting form, were they, early doors, and they just seem to have turned a corner now, and they seem to be running much better.
That is a genuinely good enough reason. I looked at their recent form, and they're going along quite nicely of late. So he was disappointing them. I think he's better than a mark of 91, Bickerstaff, and he's one of those Masons that like quick rounds. So there you go. I think there are plenty of those, actually. So Bickerstaff and Jadwal for me, and for Adele, we've got Show Along and we've got Sky Runner. That's us, isn't it? Perfect. Best. All 8 races done. All 8 winners for you. Weekend best bet. Adele, what is your best bet this weekend, please?
I'm going to go Gifted Ruler at York in the 235. I think there's still a lot more to come from that horse, and I don't think he's a bad price either for a weekend bet.
Okay, and I will go with Jadwal I nearly went at Tyler's Bay, but I think at the prices, Jadwal's a fair shout. I think there's an argument that he should be favourite. So Jadwal for me, and Gifted Ruler for you, and for Peter who's watching. I know that. Adele, thank you very much. Enjoyed that. Just the two of us this week. So hopefully our strike rate will be nice and high. And then you're on duty ITV all next week, right?
All week, opening show, and then basing the pre-parade ring for the afternoons. Just getting the early look on the horses. So a bit of fun. Should be
excellent. It will be. Enjoy. Go get those 10 dresses.
That's what I'm going after here.
Yeah, good luck. That's going to be the hardest task of all, I think. That's it from Adele and I. Don't forget that you can find all of our selections at insights.matchbook.com or from tomorrow afternoon/evening for all of that. Enjoy all the action this weekend. We'll see you next for a live preview Monday at 2:45 to do days 1 and 2 and all those Group 1s of Royal Ascot. That's our preview coming up. Then with Sam Turner, with Don McLean, and with Declan Ricks, we've got so a stellar team of maths for you for that on Monday. Another one Wednesday at 6 p.m. But first of all, enjoy the racing this weekend. Bye-bye.